everyone, welcome back to Castle Goring, chatting with Lady C. Hello Georgie, how are you today?
Hello Leo, I'm very well, thank you. Exhausted, but well, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Didn't see you for centuries.
Oh, yes, it's been quite an eternity,
Yes.
hasn't it?
Well, you're now having many interviews and all dealing with the press and regarding your books, so it's really good for you.
Well, it's not all really good, because some of it has been decidedly unpleasant. Because, for instance, earlier today, or I think it might have been yesterday, I'm not sure which one, the Mirror published a story that is basically a complete misrepresentation and really, lying about me and that infamous interview conducted with His Majesty of the Closet, and where he was aggressive towards me. And because I'm suing the Mirror, and the public, of course, won't know this because it's not actually hit the papers yet, because it's where there's still lawyers going back and forth. But I am suing the Mirror on very serious grounds. And so they are publishing all sorts of stories about me, putting very negative spins, trying to make out somehow that, for instance, I, who have been abused by His Majesty of the Closet, who was so aggressive towards me, that I was aggressive towards him. I mean, I don't know. Since we've received thousands, as you will know, literally thousands of complaints about the way I was treated from people. And also, of course, they shut off their comments, not the Mirror, His Majesty of the Closet, and this morning shut off their comment section to prevent people saying how completely appalled they were by their behavior. So now the Mirror is trying to make out that I attacked him, not that he attacked me, and I defended myself civilly, intelligently, and actually, as hundreds of people have said, in one way or the other, I literally wiped the floor with him. But they haven't said that. They try to make out that somehow I'm the aggressor. Well, of course, it's really dumb of them, because come the time for settlement or when it goes to trial, and there's no doubt that I'm going to win, because what they said about me was so completely false, out of line. And you couldn't make it up if you were a complete imbecile or evil, but they managed to. That it will aggravate the damages. But in the meantime, I think I ought to draw everybody's attention to the fact, don't read a word that the Daily Mirror has to say about me, because they are liars, they are frauds, they have it in for me. And of course, the reality is that Harry and Meghan do have a point about the British press. Well, at least the tabloid element of the British press. Because they are unfair, and they are often aggressive and abusive, and they are often functioning to the detriment of this public figures they write about. However, where Harry and Meghan have no case is that the country needs a free and robust press more than public figures need an easy ride. And so, for that reason alone, so I say, we don't need to change any of the protocols governing the press freedom, the way public figures are treated, royals, etc. Because there are already laws and protocols in place where we can defend ourselves when things go too far, which is what I'm doing against the Daily Mirror. And of course, they are responding by going against me in unacceptable ways, by just plain plumb lying about me. It also has to be said that I find it quite amusing reading some of the crazier comments, people who've not read the book and who've decided, I suppose, they're called Meghan and Harry sugars.
Yes.
And some of the comments that are posted about the book and about the contents of the book. They've not read the book, they don't know anything about the book, and they're publishing stupid comments. Having said that, I will read one or two of the comments from one or two people who have read the book.
Mm-hmm.
So if I may, I will just very quickly have a look and read them, because it's interesting to see what the comments are. Okay. Aesthetician from Chelsea says, actually, he or she posted two comments. Oh. The first one was, I'm already on page 35 of your book, Lady C, and I'm absolutely loving it. It is very well written and gives a very balanced, fair account. Then later on, the comment says, there are more insights into the royal family than I've ever read before. It's jaw-dropping and gasp-worthy. I was up till 2 a.m. with it again last night. A brilliant read and covers everything from the day he met her until now. Much of the information comes from insiders. Well, that's a true and a fair comment.
Yes.
And there are others along those lines, but I don't want to belabor all our viewers with endless positive comments.
Yes.
But it's nice to know that people have read it and they've got it, the message, because it is balanced and it is fair. And I do bend over backwards to give credit where credit is due. And it's slightly annoying when the newspapers try to lie about it, but it's actually rather entertaining when the crazies come out with some of their comments, because, I mean, you have to laugh, I mean, I'm not going to repeat any of them on air, but I've been laughing behind the scenes when they're pointed out to me.
Yes.
I mean, just do lally time.
Yes. Well, but what do you think was the reason why this person in your interview said this to you?
Well,
what caused the whole heating up?
Well, of course, there are two answers to that question. I will read out a question that provides part of the answer. It's from somebody who says, could you please address your interview with Philip Schofield? Is it not true that Mr. Schofield was shagging a young male member of his staff while lying to Holly Willoughby, his wife, and the rest of the free world about his sexuality? Is it not true that he only came out of the closet after he was caught in flagrante delicto with his boyfriend, hence his aversion to gossip? Well, that's the first question, part of the question, which is, I'm no expert on Philip Schofield, never was, don't intend to be. I have better things to do than waste my time with a creature of that magnitude. But I don't know the story behind his outing beyond knowing that I would never have outed him. I don't believe in outing people. If someone's life is private and they wish to keep it private, I'm perfectly happy to keep it private in ways like that. So I would never have outed him. But he outed himself evidently when a newspaper was about to blow the whistle on him. And my son, who wrote something that the Mirror picked up yesterday, I think it was, because they'd had 2 stories regarding me and my book, and or Philip Schofield, and or His Majesty of the Closet. And my son, Dima, who was at the ITV Awards with me, he was about 3 or 4 feet behind me. And I was in a walkway, and Philip Schofield bounced into me, shoved me, trying to knock me down, obviously so that I would look ridiculous or people would think I was drunk or some such thing. And I said to him, "Oh, excuse me," as he walked past, but I said it completely instinctively, because I didn't know who it was until he'd walked past. And my "excuse me" was a remonstration. And I realized he'd done it deliberately, and Dima confirmed to me that he'd done it deliberately. That when I was in the jungle, Philip Schofield went for me hell for leather with everybody at every occasion he could get. Well, I suppose Philip Schofield is jealous of me because, you know, I had a birth defect that I have been open about all my life, and I'm neither proud nor ashamed of it. It's just a fact of life, and I don't think you can be proud of having had a birth defect. You may have some pride in having coped with it well, but it's not something you can be proud of or should be proud of. It's just a fact of life that you accept. Well, of course, Philip Schofield has known, according to him, since he was very young, that he was gay, yet went through the pretense of being straight, deceived a woman who he married and with whom he had 2 children. And then, so I suppose that Philip Schofield has looked at someone like me and thought, crikey, why does she get to be liberated when I'm so sort of secretive and ashamed? But of course, if he had been a little bit more honest, he wouldn't have needed to be secretive and ashamed. But anyway, be that as it may, Dima said after
the whole thing on the TV,
the whole thing on the TV, and people say, Dima was being very sweet and trying to defend me, and he said on Twitter, "I personally remember," and he sent this to His Majesty of the Closet, "I personally remember when you tried to shove my mother at the ITV Awards. You hate authoritative women. You read a teleprompter your whole life, hide in a closet, and you want to define the truth. For your own mental health, you are delusional. All absolutely true and fair." Well, of course, several newspapers responded to that by asking for interviews with me and with Dima. When I turned down the requests for the interviews, they started to offer me money to give the interviews. Well, that, really means they're desperate to hear what you have to say. Well, I have not sold anything to any of the newspapers, and I do not propose to sell anything to any of the newspapers. I'm limiting myself to these comments because all of my supporters who have been so nice to comment, I think you deserve some feedback. And the reason I think why Philip Schofield dislikes me so much is, I agree with Dima. I think he doesn't like strong women. I think he also doesn't like honest people. And, nobody is more threatened by an honest person than a perpetual phony and a long-standing fraud. And I think where Philip Schofield is concerned, there is absolutely no doubt that he has no respect for the truth, as I told him, that he is also ignorant. Insofar as disliking gossip, I think it's farcical. His program is one long line of gossip on a daily basis, facile gossip. And he also is so ignorant that he doesn't, neither he nor the Dolly Holly seems to understand that a proper biography, you do not actually
write together with this person.
No, you don't. And also, some of the absolute idiots, brain-dead creatures on the internet who have been making comments like, oh, I'd never buy the book because she hasn't spoken to Harry and Meghan about it and they haven't endorsed it. I mean, one wonders whatever happened to the educational system. When I was young, in Jamaica, yes, which was a relatively poor country, everybody got a good education. Everybody who wanted to learn walked out of school knowing that a biography is something that is written about somebody. If the person doesn't have to be alive, they can be dead, yes, but it is written and without the collusion of the subject of the biography. And you certainly do not seek an endorsement from the subject of the biography. I mean, these people what planet are they on? Did they go to school? Do they think 2 and 2 is 22? I mean, give me a break, just ridiculous. But anyway, yes, I suppose though, I'm not complaining because the book is doing tremendously well. It's, and there are loads of people out there who are intelligent. Press have been reporting that Meghan's people have been criticising a speech the Prince of Wales gave in terms of the inclusivity in this country racially, and saying that, no, Meghan didn't get any support from the royal family. And on a slightly different but rather more concerning note, that Meghan's race was used against her and all of that claptrap. I really despair that this situation with Meghan and Harry has become so ugly, and that to promote themselves in America and enhance their earning ability, that they can actually be paying people to make adverse comments about his father and her father-in-law's actions when he makes a really important speech about race and the tremendous progress that has been made in race relations in this country. Everybody will know who studied history that revolutions usually start not while a country is grindingly poor or not while society is at the baseline, but when prosperity and prospects are opened up for more and more people. We are living in a world, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, where more people are better off with more choices, greater wealth, greater freedom than they have ever been in the history of humanity. So that means on some level, most people in this world are better off than they would have ever been at any other time in history. Are we seriously trying to bring down the edifice of such advancement and such progress and such accomplishment to satisfy the ravings of a few lunatics? Because, the very vocal, activistic element that is behaving so irresponsibly and moaning and groaning about the fact that better can be done and therefore rip everything down. Better has never been done than has been done at this moment in time historically. And we really need to be mindful of that. Now, I'm not saying that we still can't move on to do better, but you cannot improve a society with anarchy, with false assumptions, with ridiculous complaints. I mean, Trevor Phillips is the former head of the Commission for Racial Equality, and he will tell you that Britain is better off racially than it has ever been. He's just one of the many people. You know, I grew up with people in Jamaica who now play a very important part in the movement in this country for the improvement of Black lives. And I'm not going to be mentioning their names because they're friends of mine, and what we speak about privately, I'm not going to bring them into a discussion that is not controlled and not controllable, because at the moment, you know, it seems to me that the radical element, the irresponsible element, the unknowing and unconscionable element is gaining too great a voice in terms of social progress. And in so doing, they are endangering the progress that has been made so far. And they will continue to endanger it. Because the reality is, you cannot, on a deck of cards, just grab the card that you want. You need to treat the whole deck of cards responsibly.
Yeah, that's true. Well, can I ask you one quick last question before we finish this episode? It's we go back again to the interview with Philip. Why do you think that he, after all this, his history and what he's done, and that he's not so kind, what do you think, why he's still in this position and at this show working?
Because he's popular. He's popular with a lot of people. You know, he has a reputation publicly, I understand, with the general public for being a nice guy. Within the media, he has a shocking reputation for being a real sod. I mean, I go no further than mentioning the name Amanda Holden, who is but one of the many people, but she's come out and said it publicly. And I'm not going to validate the confidences of people who've told me privately what a jerk he is. But I certainly have experienced it myself now.
Yes. I mean, even after the scandal with this young man as well.
Oh, but he managed to turn that into a virtue. And since it's come up, one of the specific questions was, which I will now try to look up. Bear with me for a second. Somebody called Tracy McGowan wrote and asked, Lady C, please tell us, what did you say to Philip and Holly on Good Morning Show? Because you pulled away from your mic, and I'm sure other people couldn't hear what you said to Philip. He tried to shut you down. You told him something about truth, and you told him he should have been truthful earlier or something like that. I didn't hear you because you pulled away from the mic. Well, Tracy McGowan, the answer to the question is, I did not pull away from my mic. They regulate the sound in the studio. And when I started to tell Philip Schofield that effectively he was a fraud and a phony, and who the hell did he think he was speaking to, when I have been truthful and he has spent his whole life living a lie, and the only reason why he stopped living it was that a newspaper was going to out him. And when he tried to shut me up, I spoke over him. But in the studio, they can regulate the sound. And so they regulated the sound. They obviously, and also he has an earpiece in his ear. And they were obviously in the studio saying to him, keep talking, because they heard me and they knew what I was saying even better than he did. And they obviously were saying to him, keep talking, drown her out, drown her out, because they did not want the public hearing me call him out on the fact that he is basically a huge phony.
Yes.
And that how dare he try to imply that I, who am anything but a phony, would somehow need lessons from him in honesty or proper reportage. I mean, so that's really what happened.
And I was next to you, so yes,
and you heard
I heard everything. Yes.
Yeah.
So I can confirm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
he overtalk you, just that audience people don't hear it on TV, and maybe they play with,
because they play with the sound. They regulate the sound so that, because I was talking over him,
yes,
and
they were cutting you.
But they were but had he shut up, they wouldn't have been able to play with the sound.
Because they will hear everyone that you're cut.
So they couldn't cut me because it was live, and if he had shut up until I had finished, so they allowed me to believe that I was prevailing, while in fact they were manipulating the sound.
Yes.
So it comes out as white noise, or shall we say, it comes out as dishonest noise.
Yes. Yes. And then after he just quickly changed the topic and started to talk about the book finally.
yes. He thought he was going to ambush me.
Yeah, well, he was trying to discredit you even before you start to talk about your book.
Yes.
So that if he discredit you at the first point, at the beginning of the interview, then there is, your book doesn't have a point or any importance.
Yeah, that's right. But the truth is, the public is now, by and large, sufficiently sophisticated, unless they're stupid. And I mean, there are loads of stupid people out there as well. You only need to look at some of the comments in some of the websites or whatever they're called to see that there are a whole load of complete idiots out there. But putting them aside, the average person is really, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, they're really very sophisticated, and they know the truth, and they know when people are being honest.
Yes.
But I mean, there are also loads of idiots, hence why Philip Schofield is regarded as a nice guy. I mean, if you read some of the comments that people have published on our videos about Philip Schofield, you'll see that, I mean, most of the people have got him in one. They can see the guy's a total jerk and a nasty piece of work.
But even my friends also send me messages, from other countries. They seen it on internet, and they said, he was not very nice. This was really not the topic, not the point to do this.
He was unprofessional, and for that I do not forgive him. He was unprofessional. He did not do justice to his profession. He did not do justice to the interview. He did not do justice to his subject. He did not do justice to his audience. He did justice to no one.
Because if he said this to you, then this applies to every other biographer who is writing the book.
Yes, but also, he
then insult other people, not just you.
Yes, but you see, I mean, obviously many of the people who are looking at his program have never read a book in their life and wouldn't understand about biographies. And as for that Dumbo Dolly Holly coming up with, I don't understand what integrity means. Can you tell me what integrity means and how does it apply to mental health? I mean, give me a break. Of course she knew exactly what she was saying.
She was trying to save him and change the narrative.
That's exactly right, as I told you yesterday.
Yes.
That's exactly what she was trying to do. But still, the way she did it was, I mean, okay, she couldn't come up with anything valid, so
Yes.
she came across as a real Dumbo. But I gather that, in fact, it's all an act, that she's actually extremely clever. And, just plays upon the dumb blonde role when, in fact, she's anything but. She's
Yes.
sharper than two pins, evidently. Well, also, she'd have to have the hide of a rhinoceros to be able to cope with that thing on a daily basis.
Yes.
So
I think that was a very good observation on the situation which happened, and I'm really thankful that you agreed to talk about this, even for free.
Well, I'd sooner talk about it for free than get paid for it by one of the newspapers.
Yes. Yes.
And but I think we have some treats in store for you guys, because there are loads of really interesting questions.
Yes.
And one or two very interesting subjects that we will be addressing down the line. I am going to be interviewing Mark Sykes.
Oh, yes.
And we're not only going to be touching upon the whole business of the Sykes-Picot line and the consequences thereafter, but upon such matters as slavery, which will be very interesting.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed. And very topical at the moment.
At the moment, yes.
And also I will be addressing questions from various people, such as my opinion on whether statues should be torn down. So that will be coming. So it's not all going to be Harry, Meghan, the tiresome press, etc., etc. There will hopefully be one or two other more intelligent
actual
things.
topics, yes.
So, but also maybe everybody could tell me whether they want such heavy things as well as lightweight stuff, and the combination of the two. But I hope we're not going to have to address any more of this tiresome business of Holly and the Dolly.
Okay, great. So the next week, the next episode will be your interview with the Mark Sykes. So this will be very interesting. So I'm sure that many people will like it. And that's it for today. Thank you very much again.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Goodbye.